Ade jati tanai jati.
Tat ijati tannai jati.
Tadure tadvantike.
Taddure tadvantike.
Tadantarasya sarvasya.
Tad antarasya sarvasya.
Tadyu sarvasyasya bhayata.
Tadayu sarvasyasya bahita.
Would you like to read the translation?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything.
So, three of the Lord's inconceivable potencies are mentioned here.
Yes.
Remember what that's called in Sanskrit? What do you call
Oh,
that?
yeah.
There's a word for that. I think you've got it. You started with A, right?
Achintaya.
Yeah, achintya.
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 Yeah. So I just,
Achintya. Means beyond our conceiving power, beyond our chintya, our mind. So it's very great, very vast, unlimited powers. His energy is so vast. And but so all of these contradictions that are mentioned here, that he walks, he doesn't walk, he's inside, he's outside, he's near, he's far, they can all be reconciled because the Lord is so great. So everything is within him. So simultaneously, like for example, he's inside of us and at the same time he's outside. Normally you can't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
But he has so many potencies, and so it seems contradictory, but for the Lord, everything is possible. Actually, Prabhupada said that the word impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. Because from the Lord's point of view, he can do anything.
Yeah.
If something what we would call impossible, like example, like lifting a mountain is impossible. But from the Lord, as you know, Giridhari, at 7 years old, he lifted the mountain with a little finger for 7 days. So anything is possible. And, you know, for someone that's very far away, to come here immediately is impossible. But from the Lord's point of view, even though he's in Vaikuntha, if we get in trouble in the material world and we call out to him, Hey Govinda, Hey Gopal, then he can immediately come. Even though he's very far away, he can immediately come. So anything is possible from the Lord's point of view. So even for the devotee, there's nothing that's impossible, because if the Lord is supporting the devotee, then anything can be achieved. I mean, even if you look at Prabhupada's life, you'd say a lot of the things that happened in his life are impossible. Like the fact that he started the Hare Krishna movement when he was 70 years old and traveled around the world, and even after heart attacks, he kept on going. And he translated more than 60 books in 10 years and initiated 10,000 disciples, established more than 108 temples and farms and schools and everything like that at such an advanced age, and did so much, and slept only a few hours a day, and it's just impossible, it seems like, what he did. But because he had the Shakti of the Lord working through him. See, if you've got the Lord Shakti with you, then things that ordinarily impossible become possible.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so shall we continue? So we read the first paragraph only. So
Yep.
we're at the second one, we should.
Okay. We should not take it for granted that because we cannot see God with our eyes, the Lord has no personal existence. Sri Isopanisad refutes this argument by declaring that the Lord is far away, but very near also. The abode of Lord is beyond the material sky, and we have no means to measure even this material sky. If the material sky extends so far, then what to speak of the spiritual sky, which is altogether beyond it? That the spiritual sky is situated far, far away from the material universe is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Shloka 15.6. But despite the Lord's being so far away, He can at once, within less than a second, descend before us with a speed swifter than that of the mind or wind. He can also run so swiftly that no one can surpass Him. This is already been described in previous mantra. Yet, you want
No, let's stop there. Yeah,
okay.
so this particular feature, how that he's far away, he can come very near, very quickly, had been mentioned in the previous verse, that he can run so swiftly. And Prabhupada's mentioning a verse in the Bhagavad Gita 15.6. So that one is telling some of the characteristics of the spiritual world, which is very interesting. And it's saying Natad Basite Suryo Nasa Sanko Nupavaka. So that means that in the Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, it's not lighted up there or illuminated by the sun. Natad Basyate Suryo. So it's not illuminated by the sun, Surya. Nasa Sanko. So Shashi is the moon. So it's not lit up in the daytime by the sun or in the nighttime by the moon. And Napavaka, not lit up by fire either. So it's not like the material world would be a completely dark place if it wasn't for the sunlight in the daytime, the moonlight at night, or if there was a fire going. Of course, that gives some light. But the spiritual world doesn't need these external illuminating forces. Does that mean the spiritual world's a dark place? No, it's self-illuminating. So there's illumination radiates from the planets themselves. And originally there's an effulgence coming from Krishna's body called the Brahma Jyoti. So that Brahma Jyoti, that illuminates everywhere in the spiritual world. And it's said that the reflection of that illumination, the Brahma Jyoti, enters into the material world through the sun, through the moon. That's where they get their illumination from. It's, you could say, borrowed from the Brahma Jyoti in the spiritual world. So yeah, the spiritual world's a very wonderful place. It's self-effulgent, doesn't need any kind of external sources of light or heat or anything like that. And also the second part of that verse says, Yad gatva nani vatante tad dharma paramamama. It's saying that once you go there, Yad gatva nani vatante, they don't come back to this material world, because tad dharma paramamama, because the person has achieved the paramam dharma, the supreme home, the supreme place, dham, the topmost dham. That's the best place. You know, it's like probably people are thinking, you know, in Australia, Sydney's the best place. Everyone wants to go to Sydney like that because it's got so many nice shops and beautiful places or whatever like that. But there's a place even better than that. That's the Paramam Dham. So the topmost place, that's the Vaikuntha, where Krishna lives. Actually, in Vaikuntha, the highest planet, the topmost planet in Vaikuntha is called Goloka Dharma. Goloka Dharma. So Goloka, it means the planet of cows. Go means cows and Loka means planet. And on that topmost planet, so Krishna lives there with so many cows and all of the gopis and gopas, and they have wonderful pastimes there, very loving pastimes. Madhurya Rasa. so many loving pastimes there, and it's the best place. So once the soul leaves the material world and goes there, they don't come back. The Krishna says in that verse in the Bhagavad Gita that once someone goes to his abode in the spiritual world, which isn't lighted up by the sun or the moon or fire, then one doesn't come back because it's such a nice place. Okay, so let's continue.
Yep. Yet when the personality of Godhead comes before us, we neglect him. Such foolish negligence is condemned by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 9.11, where he says that foolish deride him. Considering him a moral being, he is not a mortal being, nor does he come before us with a body produced of material nature. There are many so-called scholars who contend that the Lord descends in the body made of matter, just like an ordinary living being. Not knowing his inconceivable powers, such foolish men place the Lord on an equal level with ordinary man.
Okay, let's stop there. So, I mean, it was mentioned in that first paragraph we read, which I didn't say then, but I will now, that people take it for granted, Prabhupada's saying that because we can't see God, they say that he's not a person. God is not a person because we can't see him. Because obviously a person, you can see them. So they speculate that God is just energy, that God is impersonal because we can't see him. But then Prabhupada's made the point that he lives very far away. So therefore, you can't see him here because where he lives is very far away. But then he says, but he can come very quickly. And in this paragraph, it's talking about yet when the personality of Godhead comes before us. So what's that indicating? That he's far away, lives far away in Vaikuntha, but he does come before us. So when did that happen? That happened 5,000 years ago. The Supreme Lord descended to the material world. When the Lord comes down from the spiritual world to the material world, that is called avatar. Avatar means one who descends, comes down. So when God comes to the material world from the spiritual, that's called avatar, which is in English we call it incarnation. An incarnation. So that the incarnation that comes, there's an English word carnate, or which means like in the flesh. But when the Lord comes down, he doesn't appear in a form of flesh and blood like ours. He comes in his original spiritual form. From Vaikuntha, he comes to the material world in his original spiritual form. He doesn't assume a material form like us. So many philosophers, they say that when the Lord incarnates in the material world, that he comes in a material form. But this is not accepted by the Vedas. The Vedic conclusion is that the Lord comes in his original spiritual form. He doesn't accept a temporary material form of flesh and blood like us. And he himself says that in the Bhagavad Gita, and that's Prabhupada's quoting that verse, chapter 9, text 11, which says, Avajananti mamudha manusim tanum ashritam. So that's verses saying, Krishna's saying that foolish people criticize him that he's accepted a manusim ashritam, that he's taken shelter of a material human form, that he has an ordinary human form. But that's a lack of knowledge to think like that. Saying mudha is not a very nice word. Mudha means like a fool. So
Yes.
Krishna's saying that someone that thinks he comes in a human form, well, flesh and blood, is a mudha. And mudha means a fool, means avajananti, means that they don't have knowledge. They're ignorant. Not like we say you're an ignorant fool. You're an ignorant fool. So the fool is the person that doesn't have complete knowledge. So with a lack of knowledge, that these foolish people, they think that, like when Krishna incarnated, that he came in a material form like ours, or Ram, before that Ramachandra, but actually Lord Ram's form is also spiritual, transcendental. And before that, Narasimha, the half man, half lion that came to rescue Prahlad. It's not a material form. He's not an ordinary lion, top half lion, bottom half man. His form is spiritual. And, there's so many, of course, Varaha, Kurma, Matsya, Parashurama. There's so many, Hamsa. There's so many avatars. It's said the avatars come to the material world like the waves coming in from the ocean. Just like you can't count them, is it? Can you count the waves? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They just keep on coming. So the avatars, they keep on coming to the material world. It's said in every yuga, there is an avatar. Every yuga. So Satya Yuga, there's one. Then Treta Yuga, there's one. Dwarpa Yuga, there's one. Kali Yuga, there's one. That's called the Yuga avatar. And there's 6 different kinds of avatars. There's 6 different categories of avatars. That's just one category, Yuga avatars. And each of those Yuga avatars, they come in a different color. They have a different color. The Yuga avatar in Satya Yuga is white color. It's called Shukla. Shukla means white. And in the Treta Yuga, the avatar is a red color. It's called Rakta. Rakta is red. And in Dwapara Yuga, the Yuga avatar comes in what color?
In Dwapara, I don't know.
What color is Krishna?
Okay, Sham. I mean, there's black.
Yeah, like a shama, a blackish color. Yeah, a blackish color, sham color. And in Kali Yuga comes in a golden color, yellow color. And that's Lord Chaitanya. So he already came 500 years ago at the beginning of Kali Yuga. And his appearance day, which is called Avirbhav Mahotsav, that is coming on Monday. So a very special day. So think about Lord Chaitanya on Monday, especially every day, but especially on Monday. And he appears at moonrise. So on the rising of the moon, and so in the evening, he appears. That's the anniversary, just over 500 years ago. He came to, and the Yuga avatar is coming to establish the Yuga Dharma. So every yuga has a dharma, means like a process recommended for getting the liberation, the spiritual liberation, the dharma. So the dharma for Satya Yuga is the dhyan, meditation. They're sitting in the forest, meditating like that for thousands of years, like Valmiki. Valmiki, he meditated for 60,000 years. 60,000 years. And after meditating for 60,000 years, then he had full realization of the Ramayana. And then he composed the Ramayana like that. So that's meditation is the Yuga Dharma in Satya Yuga. And in Treta Yuga, the Dharma is the Yagya, performing this big sacrifices, big fire sacrifices. That's how they would achieve perfection in Treta Yuga. And in Dwapara Yuga, the Dharma, Yuga Dharma, is the temple worship, Archan Vidi, big elaborate temple worship, big pujas, temple worship like that. But Kali Yuga, that's not recommended, any of those things. Not meditation, not recommended, although people still try to do it. and silent meditation and so forth, and fire sacrifices. People still do it, but it's not recommended. And elaborate temple worship. People still do it, but it's not really recommended. What's recommended in Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan, which means, that we come together. Sankirtan means chanting together. So we come together for chanting. Kirtan means one person, but Sankirtan means many people. That many people come together, and Harinam, so the Lord's name, Hari's name, so God's names, to chant God's names. And Prabhupada, he said, if you have a different religion and with different names, and you want to chant the name of Jehovah, okay, do that, or the name of Allah, that's okay. Like whatever, bona fide names of God, and every religion has some recognized names of God, to chant those names. But that's the Yuga Dharma, to chant the names of God. And so that's recommended. So that's Yuga Avatar come to propagate the Yuga Dharma. So Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, and he's always got his hands in the air. You'll see any murtis of him, golden color like hands up, because they're dancing and they're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, like that. So he came to propagate the Yuga Dharma. And then, so that's one kind of avatar. There's another called Purusha avatar. Purusha avatars, that's the 3 Vishnu incarnations. You might have heard of Karna Dakashayi Vishnu.
I think so, yeah.
And
Garbhodai.
Dakashayi. Yeah.
Yeah. One I remember.
And Siradakashayi. So another name of Karanadakashayi Vishnu is Mahavishnu. So he lies in the causal ocean, the Karana ocean, and the universes come out of his skin pores like bubbles of the ocean. So that's how he's great. He's so big that universes come out of his skin pores while he's in his yoga nidra. So and then he expands and he enters into each universe in the form of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. So there's only one Mahavishnu or Karanadakashayi Vishnu, but there's unlimited Garbhodakashayi Vishnus because there's unlimited universes. So there's one in every universe. So every universe, imagine it like a big football, and it's half full of water and the top half is full of air, and he lies on the water, Garbhodakashayi. So that there's an ocean is called Garbha, the Garbha ocean. So he lies on the Garbha ocean, and you would know Anantasesha. So he's lying on the Anantasesha. And then Brahma comes out of his navel, Padmanabha. So he comes out of his lotus navel. One lotus comes, and Lord Brahma is born from the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And then he incarnates, he expands, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, he expands into another Vishnu called Siradakashayi Vishnu. And seer is like kheer, right? Milk. So there's one planet in the universe, which is actually a Vaikuntha planet in the universe. So there's one planet in each universe that is never annihilated, never destroyed. Even when Brahma dies and the universe is destroyed, this one planet remains eternally. So that's called Sweta Dweep.
Sweta Dweep.
Sweta means white. So it means like milk, right? So this particular dweep is the planet, so it's called a dweepa. So every planet is called dweepa. Means like island. So like a planet is like an island surrounded by space, just like you have an island here on the earth surrounded by water. But in the planets are like islands in space, and an ocean on an ocean of space. So they're called dweepas. So Sweta Dweep, on that planet that has the milk ocean, the kheer ocean,
Wow.
So on that planet, the Vishnu is there, Kiradakashai Vishnu, and he manifests as Paramatma. So he expands into all the Vishnus within the heart of you and me and the atom everywhere. That is a manifestation of the Siradakashai Vishnu. So those are called the Purusha avatars. Three different incarnations, the Purusha incarnations. And then you have the guna avatars. Guna avatar. So guna, that means like the modes, right? So sattva guna, raja guna, tama guna. So sattva guna, who's the avatar? You know who that is? Who's the incarnation for the sattva guna, in charge of the sattva guna?
Is it, I don't know, is it Prahlad? I don't know.
No, that's Vishnu.
Vishnu. Okay,
Yeah,
Vishnu.
And for the Rajaguna, the mode of passion, that's Brahma. Brahma is the incarnation for the in charge of the mode of passion, because he's the creator. So the creator, that takes passion to create something. So he's the creator. And Vishnu, he's the maintainer. So to maintain something, you have to be in the mode of goodness to maintain. And for the mode of ignorance, that is destruction. So Lord Shiva is in charge of destruction. So that's not that he is ignorant, but he's in charge of the mode of ignorance. So, and his responsibility, one of his responsibilities is to destroy the universe. So Brahma's responsibility is to create the universe, and Shiva to destroy the universe, and Vishnu to maintain the universe.
So systematic.
What's that?
So systematic, you can see that, it's very systematic. Everything is in place, and there's somebody maintaining it. So you can
there's
see
someone in charge of every single thing that's required. And just like in human society, we have people that create things, people that destroy things, people that maintain things.
Yeah, that analogy is there. You can see that something. So you can feel that, understand that basically now that somebody is there who's maintaining, somebody destroying it, somebody creating it. Yes. And
So
all the universe you're talking about is systematic. So systematic. I mean, you have three Vishnus, so how everything is created, and then Swet Deepa is kind of like, it's like the seed, or it's the source for every universe or something. I mean, source for us.
Well, that's actually Svetadweep. Another name for Svetadweep is called the pole star. The pole star means that everything is going around the pole. So it's said that planet doesn't move, but every other planet rotates in orbit around the pole star. Now, of course, Western science doesn't agree with that. They think the whole universe revolves around the Earth. It just shows how much egoistic we are. We think everything in the universe revolves around us.
As well as, or what do you call it, ignorant, because you don't know. I mean, basically, you don't know. You don't have the power. As it says, we do have limited fund of knowledge. You can't actually even think about. So we are basically anuman. We are basically doing. We're just guessing. It's like guessing.
Guessing. Yeah. But actually, the pole star is the Svetadweep, which is also the pole star, is located in what we know in English as the Milky Way. So that planet where Siradakashai Vishnu lives, and it's interesting also that we call it the Milky Way. That's far out. I didn't think of that before. That he lives on a planet which has an ocean of milk, and Western astronomers, they call that part of the galaxy the Milky Way. So why they called it the Milky Way, I don't know. But anyway,
Krishna must have put there in their mind. You call it Milky Way. It's actually Milky Way.
Yeah. So and have you heard of Dhruva Maharaj?
Dhruva star.
Yeah. So that Dhruva Loka, that is the pole star. He lives there he lives in the best planet in the universe, and the whole, like I said, the whole universe is circumambulating or